The following maintenance requests and complaints were found in the computer of one Mrs. Doris May, the landlord of the apartment building at 2618 Wayne Boulevard, following the thorough search of the building by the police. Donald Fitzgerald, Unit 411.
January 13.
My wife and I moved here for the proximity of the subway and for the cheap rent. But we did not move here so that we wouldn't have a working stove. I do not plan on eating takeout for the remainder of my tenure at this building. I demand maintenance come down at once and fix this. Unacceptable.
January 24.
And now, the refrigerator isn't working? The refrigerator temperature should be at a nice, cool 34 degrees Fahrenheit. But try as we might, Patricia and I have been unable to get it below 36. So now our milk is spoiled, and the cheese is molded, and my yogurt is unedible, and the beers are not chilled the way I would like when I get home from a long day of work. Once again, I demand a maintenance representative be here tomorrow to fix this, and not the same man as last time. Jose was rude and did not even apologize for all of this inconvenience when we yelled at him.
February 8.
It seems we can't go a single day without finding something unacceptable about this building. At night, both Patricia and I hear a faint but constant thumping in the walls. What is that? I demand to know why we cannot get some peace and quiet.
February 12.
If our Wi-Fi drops out in the middle of Patricia's stories one more time, there will be hell to pay. Get the ISP down here now to increase our speeds. This is insane.
February 18.
It appears my previous demand was unheeded. Last night, the thumping was far worse. It sounds like there's a ghost living in the walls. Patricia hates ghosts. They're rude, uninvited, and do nasty things like slam doors and break china dishes. Get a job, ghosts! Patricia can't sleep in these conditions, and I hereby demand an exorcist be brought to the premises to deal with this at once. At once.
February 27.
The refrigerator is acting up again. I thought this was fixed. The expiration date on the milk says use by March 3rd. It's not March 3rd yet, and the milk is already starting to smell. The temperature is 36 degrees and rising. Unacceptable.
March 4.
So today I came home from work and go to hang up my coat, and what do I find? A bouquet of flowers from the downstairs office thanking us for the dream tenants who pay rent on time? No! I found a cold spot by the bedroom door. The air is as of an acceptable but not ideal temperature throughout our apartment, but by the door of our bedroom there's a cold spot. This indicates the presence of a spiritual entity, and I do not pay $1,800 a month to be haunted in my own home. Unacceptable! I demand this to be dealt with at once.
March 7.
Thank you for fixing the stove, but I did not appreciate how Jose made me feel stupid for not knowing about the pilot light feature. I expect he will be reprimanded immediately.
March 11.
Yesterday, I had a run-in with Paul Schumerman from down the hall. He was very rude to us when I asked him to stop staring at us venomously whenever he saw us. Do you know what he did? He continued to stare as if he wishes harm upon us. I demand to know what will be done about Paul Schumerman.
March 14.
So apparently it's not just Paul Schumerman who was bizarre and rude. Rosa Martinez, the elderly foreign woman with maybe 5 or 6 remaining teeth from floor 3, smiled at us in a very evil-looking way that I did not appreciate when I was getting our mail. I demand to know what will be done about Rosa Martinez.
March 14.
I know I just submitted a request, but it's 10:45 and Patricia is unable to sleep because of her nightmares. She says that she sees a black figure standing at the end of our bed with red eyes. Not okay! Was someone murdered in this unit? Answers!
March 16.
It is unacceptable that on James Madison's birthday, we cannot get the heat to stay on. The temperature is at 40 degrees. Much too cold. Fix this.
March 17.
Still too cold. And do you mind explaining why all of the pictures of Patricia and myself in our hallway were smashed and broken on the ground? I'm calling an exorcist since you refused to do so, and rent will be reduced by the cost of his service.
March 19.
We brought in a local priest who says that, guess what? It's not a ghost. It's a demon. A demon infests my humble abode as I write this. Do you think this is an acceptable way to run an apartment? No, it's not. I asked what we can do about the situation. He says we should leave immediately, because if we don't, the demon will latch onto us and follow us around. I'm not relocating this soon. I asked him to deal with it, and he said he can't. That it is beyond his ability to fight, and we need to have this entire building fully blessed. He then scheduled a time tomorrow for he and several other priests, rabbis, and pastors to arrive and do a thorough blessing of the building. You will be billed for this.
March 19.
Once again, I cannot sleep. Patricia is sleepwalking, yet again, except instead of walking down the hall or screaming while still asleep from the kitchen, she's crawling on the ceiling and shouting at me in a very deep voice, while her head twists fully around like an owl. I told her to get down at once, and she said,
"No, she is mine."
Excuse me? Demon, she is not. I have work in the morning, but what I do not have is patience for this nonsense. Oh, and I told the demon to let us sleep. It said F me. F me? I do not appreciate that kind of language. No, sir. And she began hissing and spitting steaming bile onto the bed and laughing maniacally. And I'm typing this on my laptop from the couch while she shouts blasphemies from down the hall. If these priests do not fix this issue, we will be reporting you for the mess.
March 19.
Do you mind explaining why there are herbs and twigs by my front door beneath the sign of a pentagram? I expect this is the work of Paul Schumerman, or Rosa Martinez, or that nasty Dylan French from Unit 221. You need to do a better job picking tenants for this establishment.
March 20.
So I came inside and Patricia is gone. Her absence was not arranged beforehand, and I expect it has something to do with the demon. This is not okay. When I come home from work, I expect to be able to relax in front of a game show with a beer while my wife knits. But that is not going to be the case today. Apparently, there are scratched pentagrams all over the walls, broken lamps, and the lights don't work. The refrigerator door is hanging open, thus ruining yet more milk. More milk gone! And the entire apartment is freezing. I will be doing a thorough search through this building for my wife, updating you on any unpleasantries I encounter from my phone as needed. And when I get back, I expect Jose will have fixed the lights.
March 20.
It appears these tenants knew I was coming. I'm on floor 3, and they're all standing outside their homes, watching me, silently unmoving as I walk down the hallway between them. And I believe I smell marijuana from the gay couple's home. Marijuana is an illegal drug that kills millions every year. In your building? Do something about this. I will not have the devil's ganja so close to my abode. If the police conduct a SWAT raid looking for marijuana, we all go to federal prison. All of us.
March 20.
I've decided I cannot abide the presence of such a terrifying drug as marijuana anywhere near my person, my wife, or my place of residence. I have alerted the authorities and they are en route. I apologize if life sentence for you is an inconvenience, but I had no other choice.
March 20.
So I asked sweet Miss Robinson from Unit 334 where my wife was, and she said the basement. The basement! I go down there for laundry, not my wife. Also, I hereby henceforth demand that a washer-dryer unit, preferably stacked, although I am willing to negotiate on this, be placed in our unit when this unfortunate episode is concluded. I do not like this going into the basement with a basket of dirty laundry twice or 3 times a month because I have to use the stairs. You can't get your elevator working.
March 20.
Why are the lights off on floor 2? And where are the priests? All I see is more tenants pointing in unison down the stairs, staring at me like they're in a trance. It smells like rotting corpses and old food down here. Maybe old lasagna? This was not the case when I left for work this morning, although, to be fair, I simply walked down the hall and did not venture down this hallway. I also didn't notice the arrows painted in blood pointing downstairs. I assume those were put up while I was at work.
March 20.
Correction. To be fair. My apologies.
March 20.
Where is the front door? I'm on floor 1 and the front door is missing. I just used it. Instead, there's just a swirling vortex of impenetrable blackness with blood coming out of it and it's staining the nice carpet. I expect this will be fixed as I have work tomorrow and need to be there early so I can prepare for a presentation on sales reports from quarter 1. Quarter 1!
March 20.
I have now reached the door to the basement. Why is the word "come" scratched repeatedly into the wood here? Unsightly.
March 20.
I'm at the top of the basement stairs. Did you know there was a demonic voice whispering to people down here? Saying, "Come downstairs with us. Join us. Join us. Join us." Over and over again. Why do they feel the need to repeat themselves? This is inefficient.
March 20.
The voices below are now saying that the gospel is a lie, but I said nothing about the first 4 books of the New Testament. This is an irrelevant red herring, and I demand we replace these demons with ones who can at least stay on topic. I'm here for my wife, not to debate the minutiae of Judeo-Christian theology with malevolent spiritual entities who, if I'm being perfectly honest, cannot be trusted on the matter because they clearly have a vested interest in me feeling one way or the other as far as this subject is concerned, and are thus not being objective. If this keeps up, then I will be taking my laundry to the laundromat down the block and charter for the foreseeable future, and you will lose out on my business in that department.
March 20.
Well, I now see where the priests have gone. Their bones are scattered across the basement, and their collective blood is swirling in a vortex around what appears to be a portal to hell in the center of the basement, around which all the tenants of the ground floor are seated and worshipping. I believe I said very clearly that I did not want hell portals in my place of residence, and no one seemed to indicate this would be a problem when I signed the lease. If I am ever to use the washing and drying machine again, I expect the gateway to Hades to be closed and the place to be cleaned thoroughly before I do so. The smell is terrible, and I also demand that the glowing fiery pentagram on the floor beneath the portal be doused and cleaned off. It is detrimental to what little decor there is in the basement.
Oh god, guess what day it is? Yep, March 20.
Well, the tenants now see me, but as of this recording, have yet to respond to my demands to see my wife. They're simply staring at me. And I'm sorry, but where are their eyes? Are eyes not fashionable anymore? How can they see me if they don't have eyes? This is impossible, and I demand they cease it at once. They have no respect for the rules of either this apartment or physics itself. This day is ruined.
Oh god, March 20.
Their eyes.
March 20.
My wife, who is quite unkempt and whose hair appears to be unwashed, and who looks like she's been possessed with Satan, unacceptable, has joined the group as they speak to me in unison. I'm sorry, when was there a group practice for this performance, and why was I not invited? It's quite rude to exclude members of your own apartment from such group activities as theater and Latin class. Apparently, and also, I assume this strange, deep voice they are singing in belongs to the towering horned beast that has stepped through the portal, and is pointing a clawed finger at me and approaching me slowly in an aggressive manner that I do not appreciate. Who is he? Does he even pay rent? Do you just let anyone enter the building even if they don't pay rent? And if so, then I demand hereby, henceforth, and at once, by the power invested in me as a lawful citizen and as a resident of this apartment who is not, nor has ever been delinquent on the payment of rent nor any other agreed upon expenses, that